Hello all. I don't know what kind of people will need this video, but here it goes anyway. To be honest, I never expected to make videos about physics graduate school, and in particular the application process for getting it into graduate schools in the United States for physics. Okay, I mean the procedure is very similar for chemistry and the other sciences, as well as in engineering, with a few minor differences that I might talk about towards the end of the video, okay? If I don't talk about it, remind me in the comments. So I split the video. I'm using this tool called OBS Studio, I think that's the name. I'm brand new into making videos, so I don't know how to make them properly, but the idea is, as you can see here, I drew an asterisk. So here is my iPad, and to the right hand side is my browser. Okay, and I have a few open windows because we are going to talk about the procedure. Okay, so first of all, the biggest decision you have to make is whether you want to get into a PhD program or not, okay? But this is not the purpose of the video. This video is all about what you need to do to get into the school, okay? Into a physics graduate school. Okay, I did this back in 2008. It feels unreal that it's been so long ago, okay? So the notes that I wrote here on my iPad refer to back to 2008. These were the requirements back then. But we will check with, as you see, I have the graduate admission page for the Department of Physics at MIT. I don't recommend you applying to MIT. If you do, apply to MIT and at least 10 other schools. So I'm going to talk about that in the video. Hopefully I will remember and I will not forget because, as I said, did I say that? This is a candid video. I mean, if I keep thinking about making this video, I will never do it. So I'm doing this without a script, okay? So it's everything I remember from memory, okay? And this is why I named it part one, because I want to keep an open window for a part two video in case I realized that I forgot something, or maybe some followers, some subscribers might say, Valentino, you forgot this, or you didn't mention this, you didn't talk about that. So I'm gonna look at the comments and make an additional video if needed. All right, now let me go quickly through the list I prepared here. Okay, again, the biggest question, you have to start with, why do I want to get a physics PhD? And it's a very difficult question to answer. And I haven't fully answered it inside myself yet. I mean, so many years after I got the PhD, sometimes I'm still wondering, why did I go through all this, etc. But anyway, I think there are pros and cons. Maybe I'm gonna make another video and talk about that. So let's focus on the process. Okay, so here I wrote it. I did an if statement, like just as if it's some code. I don't know, maybe Python. This is Python syntax, right? Yes, because in C++ you will need brackets, etc. So anyway, don't mind me. So if you're an international student, you definitely, at least back in the day, you needed to take either the TOEFL test or the IELTS test. Okay, this is, I want to say, low-level English. Like if you're an international student from Europe or Asia, you have been learning English probably as a second language since you were a kid. This was the case with me. Okay. So just to give you an idea, high school students take the TOEFL and the IELTS tests, and they take these tests to go into universities in the US, I mean undergraduate universities, or in the US or the UK or Australia, in general in English-speaking countries. Okay, so a high school student can take these exams and succeed. Okay, so they are not scary, but you do need to prepare yourself. Okay, I mean, I'm assuming if you went through a physics program, at some point in your studies, you realize that the textbooks in your native language do not cover the subjects as thoroughly as you would like, and probably you already started using physics textbooks in English since your second year of studies or third year of studies, something like that. This was the case for me, at least, okay? But when I was an undergrad student, the internet was not fully developed yet. I mean, I remember looking for notes and stuff like that in the MIT website and stuff like that. YouTube was around, but I don't think there were any lectures and so on. So I'm trying to say that I'm pretty sure that in 2025, people watch lectures in English, etc. So anyway, these two tests are the easy part, I would say, of the procedure. But again, I don't know, find tests online or buy a book, solve a few past papers before you take either TOEFL or IELTS. And we are gonna check with the graduate admissions at MIT. We're gonna check their list and see whether these are still required. I'm pretty sure they are. Okay, that's requirement number one, and it only applies to international students, okay? I mean, if you are an American or a British student or Australian, etc., you don't need this part, okay? So this is only for people like me. I mean, I'm from Cyprus, okay? So let's move to the next one, which is the SOP, okay? Statement of purpose. Statement of purpose. Statement of purpose, okay? This is really important, okay, in that in this statement, you're going to describe yourself. Think about it like a letter or a statement where you state, like you're going to write about your experiences. If you have research experience, that's the most important experience you need to have to get into a physics program, okay? I'm pretty sure the same applies to mathematics, chemistry, engineering, and so on. So describe yourself, write about what you like, and tailor this statement to the program where you're applying. I'm going to talk more about that later. So, for example, if you're applying to MIT, and let's say you want to apply to MIT, but you want to do research in quantum computing, and MIT doesn't even have a research program in quantum computing, so it doesn't make sense to use the same statement of purpose where you described to another school how you really want to get into quantum computing and use that statement of purpose for MIT. That doesn't make sense. It's not going to work. They will realize it, they won't like it, and so on. So do your research for the research you want to do, okay? So you want to do nuclear physics, for example, you need to find the nuclear physics schools, the schools that specialize in nuclear physics, and then go in the websites, go to find the professors that do nuclear physics research, read their papers. I recommend you read, go to Google Scholar. I don't have it. Let's go to the right window. Okay, Google Scholar. Okay, Scholar. Okay. Let's open it. So nuclear theory, for example, okay. Anyway, so, I mean, the idea is something like that. Like, actually, no, this is not the way to start. So nuclear theory, and then do, oops, my iPad went off. So nuclear theory, Indiana University, for example, okay. So you go here, okay, and okay, this guy, Chuck Horowitz, I don't know him. I'm pretty sure he's a great professor. Okay, so you go to Google Scholar. Hopefully he has a profile. He doesn't. Okay, if he doesn't, go to his website, find, okay, if there is a list, if there is a list of publications. Anyway, check, I'm trying to say check the latest 2 to 3 years, I would say. Like, check how many times a researcher has published, a professor has published over the last 2 or 3 years. Check the names in the list. I mean, in the papers, find the names and check how many of these people are in his lab or her lab, and find whether he is a second or she is a second author in a paper written by a student. That's a really good indication of a professor that cares about his or her students and so on. So anyway, To write the statement of purpose, you first need to make your mind about the kind of research you want to do at the school you're applying for, and then write a little bit about it, okay? Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense to apply to a school, okay? Okay, you can write statements of purpose in which that are general and say that I'm undecided, but I'm interested in this and that, and so on. And also, another thing to keep in mind is that you might apply to a school and say, okay, I want to come here and do condensed matter theory or material science, something like that. And then go to the school having been accepted as a condensed matter student, and then you can switch fields there, okay? Okay, that's the statement of purpose. We will need to talk more about this, okay? The next one is the GRE in physics, okay? I think since COVID, they don't require this anymore, okay? But we're gonna check. Maybe they say it's optional. If they say it's optional, okay, this is a gut feeling, but I would say if it's optional, then you need to do it because let's say that, I don't know, Columbia University has 30 PhD positions, okay? And 500 people apply. These are typical numbers that I remember from back in the day. Maybe now it's worse or better, I don't know. So maybe 500 people apply, and then 200 of them took the GRE, okay? So immediately those 200 people are ahead of you that you're applying without the physics GRE. I mean, this is my gut feeling. Unless you are an exceptional student and you did research, etc., okay? That's the GRE physics part. Then there is the GRE general part, okay? At least they're used to exist. I don't know, maybe they made that optional as well. You also need 3 letters of recommendation. If you did research, okay, any type of research, okay, or if you did an internship as a student over the summer, maybe you did an internship in financial mathematics at a bank in your country, maybe you did an internship working for CERN, etc. Find the people you work for and ask them for letters of recommendation that describe how you performed as a researcher. That's gold, okay? If you cannot find letters of recommendation related to your research, then select professors with which you took classes that you enjoyed, or maybe you have a personal relationship, etc., and ask for a letter, okay? But if you have letters from people you did research with, maybe you are an undergraduate researcher, etc., please ask for letters of recommendation, okay? And last, and probably the most important of all, is to have a bachelor's or work towards your bachelor's degree in physics. Some people have master degrees, okay, that's even better, etc. And I wrote there physics or related because this is something that I was too stressed. I was too young and too stressed when I was applying for graduate schools back in 2008. But after going through the PhD process, and now that I'm a little bit older, I realized that, maybe you got your bachelor's in mathematics, but during your mathematics studies, maybe you found some interest in quantum mechanics, and maybe you want to go do condensed matter theory, okay, with a mathematics degree, okay? Nobody prevents you from doing that. As far as, you take the TOEFL, as we said, the GREs, you have letters of recommendation, maybe research experience, etc., okay? But maybe this is the most important part because your GPA is really important for getting into PhD schools, okay? So they are gonna look into this. So in my experience, you need to have a GPA of 3 out of 4. I mean, for those of you who are in the US. I think MIT, since we have the page open here, for MIT, you probably need 4 out of 5 or above. So anyway, some American universities have a 4-based system and others have a 5-based system, something like that. But anyway, 3 out of 4. In Greece, where I got my degree from, it was out of 10, so you need to be at around 7 out of 10 or above. But the higher it is, the better, because, okay, it indicates that you are good in physics, okay? They are going to hire you to do physics. And don't let me not, okay, in case I forget, when I say you're going to do physics, I mean that you're going to produce research papers in physics, okay? So this is one of the things that I don't know, I wasn't very aware of when I was an undergrad student. I mean, I don't know. It was a long process. I mean, my education is still ongoing and it's a work in progress. But the product, okay, like when you work for a company, let's say you work for Nintendo, okay? Nintendo makes, I don't know, Game Boys, gaming consoles, video games, and so on. That's the product, okay? If you work for Siemens, I don't know, they make all sorts of things, but I don't know, MRI machines pop into my head for some reason. If you work for BMW, you make software for cars and cars themselves and so on. So the product that graduate schools and universities in general produce, the only product really, is papers, okay, research papers that are published in highly respectable journals or very sophisticated journals and so on. So what I'm trying to say is that if you apply with a GPA of, I don't know, 2 out of 4, they are not going to look at you favorably because you need to be good in physics, okay? So GPA in general, 3 out of 4. And yeah, I didn't talk about the scores that you need to score here in the TOEFL because I don't remember them. It's been a long time. But I want to say that you need to be like at the top 70%, something like that, like above average, but above 70%. Like out of 100 people who take these tests, in other words, you have to be in the top 30%, something like that. Okay. So, and I wrote it in bold and capital letters. You have to have research. No, you don't have to have research experience, but if you do have research experience, okay, some of these things can be forgiven. I mean, having a bad grade in GRE general will not hurt you very much if you have good research experience. But if you don't have research experience and your GRE general is bad and your GRE physics is bad and your GPA is low, then it's gonna get harder. Okay. Right. Now, let's go to the page to the right. Okay. So this is the US News website that ranks all physics programs, okay, in the US. And from what they say here, there are 190 results. Okay, fine. So, but there are also individual rankings for specialties. Like if I do quantum, okay, MIT might not be first. Yeah, Caltech is first, for example, okay. If I do cosmology, probably Stanford, no, California, Caltech is still first, and so on. Okay, so how do you use this? How do you use this website? Okay, so you go read all the schools. Okay, so what I did, which was kind of silly, but it worked. Okay, was to create a tier list. Okay, so I did so make a tier list. Okay. So first of all, okay, one of the big decisions you have to make is the specialty you want to apply for, okay? So you see here that things are kind of spelled out for you, okay? You have atomic optical physics, condensed matter, cosmology, relativity, gravity, etc., elementary particles, fields and strings, nuclear physics, quantum physics, and physics of living systems, okay? Physics of living systems means complexity theory, networks, statistical mechanics, that kind of thing. Okay, quantum probably means quantum computers and such. Nuclear means nuclear physics, okay, like the structure of the nucleus, nuclear reactions, stars, nuclear astrophysics, these kind of things. Elementary particles means high energy theory, pretty much, okay. And you see that they include string theory. It wasn't a thing back then. I don't remember that. Anyway, cosmology, relativity refers to, okay, the universe, studying the universe. Condensed matter means studying materials, and atomic and optical physics means studying materials and their properties when it comes to light and interactions and stuff like that. Okay, so do a tier list. So do 1 and then 2 and then 3, okay? And then in tier 1, you put Harvard, Yale, this kind of thing, okay? So pretty much the Ivy Leagues, it's 8 of them. And then MIT, oops, not MTI, MIT, I'm sorry. I swear I'm not dyslexic. I don't know why I did that. Okay, Caltech. You can do, what else is in there? MIT and Caltech. Chicago is in the same tier. Maybe I'm forgetting something, but this is the first tier, like the top schools. These are the most posh. To apply to these schools, you need to be in the top 10%, I would say, of your GRE physics, GRE general, your GPA, your TOEFL, if you're an international student. You have to have research experience and so on. If you don't even bother I mean, from my experience, I applied to one, I think, back then, and I got rejected. Okay. All right, so in tier 2, you put schools like Michigan. This is a really good school to get into, okay? It's not top tier. Oh my God, I hope those who listen to me don't, I don't know, guys, don't jump on me. I mean, I'm just talking about my general experience, okay? So Michigan, MSU, Michigan State, Florida State, Notre Dame, my alma mater. I don't know, schools like that, schools that are mid-tier. Like if you go in this list, I mean, okay, let's see the list, for example, okay? So you see MIT, Stanford, I forgot, Stanford is in the same tier as, okay, top tier. Okay, Stanford, Caltech, Harvard, Princeton, Berkeley goes up here, okay? Cornell, Chicago, Columbia, Santa Barbara, Champaign, I forgot to include these. Okay, another thing you can do is actually Michigan can be erased from there. So maybe you can do something like this. Okay, now I just remember how I actually did it. So tier 1 are these schools. So then tier 1 to 2 are schools like UIUC, Urbana-Champaign, Michigan, Santa Barbara, etc. Don't fool yourselves. Getting into any of these schools is hard, even the tier 3 schools, okay? Then, okay, if we go down, okay, John Hopkins maybe goes into the tier 1, 2, and so on. Okay, now, for example, I said, okay, Ohio State goes into tier 2, but it's a great school to get into. Rutgers. By the way, they don't sponsor me. All these people that I mentioned don't sponsor me. Don't sue me, guys. And also, if you want to sponsor me, it's going to be great. So anyway, then you have the tier 2 to 3. Okay, and then tier 3. So this system I have here is based on, I don't know, the rankings, the actual rankings that you can find from US News. But again, I mean, if we go to the bottom of this list, I'm pretty sure we're going to find a really great school that you can get into, get your PhD. Maybe you will have a better experience. That's another thing. Maybe getting into Harvard will not make you as happy as getting into the University of Alabama, for example, okay, that you put in tier 3. But again, they have a great football program. Maybe you will have fun. Maybe you will find a great mentor and so on, okay? So New Jersey Institute of Technology goes here and so on. I mean, all these places are great. You're going to get your PhD. All American programs are competitive and well-funded. They used to be, at least. I don't know how things changed now. Okay, and then tier 2 to 3 would be schools like, okay, William and Mary, for example. Okay, you don't have to follow this by heart, but this is what I did. Like I created all these tiers, 1 to 2, and then 2 to 3, and 3. Okay, that's the first step. Okay, you're gonna end up with like 150 schools. Okay, that's unmanageable. Okay, then the next thing is, again, the statement of purpose. Remember that, and especially if you did some research as an undergrad, you might have an indication of what you like. Like you might actually have found what you want to do. So let's say you want to do biological systems. Biological systems. Okay. Then what you have to do is to go here, physics of living systems, and okay, 13 results pop up. Okay, write them all down. But also, you need to go to Google. Actually, now I don't want to open ChatGPT, but I'm pretty sure that ChatGPT. Okay, let me see. ChatGPT. Okay, login. Okay, no. Anyway, go to ChatGPT and ask, okay, I want to apply to a school that does that. And it will probably give you a list, but if it doesn't, you can go here and say physics of living systems PhDs, okay? And this will give you, okay, USA. And this will give you an idea, like a theory and modeling of living systems, Emory University, for example. I don't think it's in this list. No, it is. Okay, number 10. Okay. So anyway, go here, go to Google and find these programs. But a better way, there used to be, okay, this used to be a site by the American Institute of Physics that lists all programs that do a specific, that have a research program in a specific discipline. So for example, if we do physics of living systems and do a search, oops, it doesn't give you anything. Okay, sort programs. Okay, they have a really nice, okay. So this website, okay, you see, so biophysics, for example, Arizona State University. So you can search biophysics. Let me see. Yeah, you can, there is a list here with all the offered PhD programs in America. So you can search the list, specify whether you want an experimental PhD, a theoretical PhD, and so on. And you will find lots of information in here, okay? So what I'm trying to say is that eventually you need to narrow down your search to 10 to 20 schools and apply. Okay, it usually costs about $100 to $150 per application. So for 10 applications, you need $1,000, guys, okay? Now, what we haven't done yet is to go to the admission side of MIT. I'm using MIT because, you know, it's one of the best programs in the world. So whatever process they are following, all other schools will follow something similar, okay? It doesn't have to be MIT. You can check Harvard. You can check Michigan State University, whatever. Just pick one and see what they require. So here are some links to pages relevant to prospective students. Okay, material required for a complete application. Let's see. Okay, you need the online application. You see the fee is $90. University transcripts, unofficial transcripts are sufficient for our initial review, blah, blah, blah. Standardized tests, GRE tests. The physics GRE is recommended but not required. You see, this was my guess. Okay, I remember that during COVID, for some reason, they didn't require the physics GRE. They started doing that due to COVID and the restrictions in test centers and restrictions in moving, etc. But I think gradually they're going to bring it back, probably. It was an important test to weed out candidates for PhDs, okay? So when they say not required, but recommended, I'd say you have to take it, okay? All applications will be given full consideration with or without GRE scores, okay? They don't mention anything for the general GRE. Maybe something changed. Okay, TOEFL or IELTS. Okay, we mentioned that. So my memory works good, and also the programs are still the same. Okay, Cambridge English or Duolingo English test. I didn't know that this was a thing, okay? Or a waiver is required for non-native English speakers, okay? So if you're a native English speaker, UK, Australia, etc., this doesn't apply to you. MIT's TOEFL school code is 3513. By the way, when you take these tests, if you decide on schools you want to apply, you can find their codes in the websites and declare them while you're taking the test, and the test scores will be sent directly to the school. Okay. The code for the Department of Physics is 76. IELTS does not require a code. Eligibility for English language proficiency test, waivers, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Self-reported scores. Okay. Letters of recommendation. Okay. It is possible to submit up to 6 letters, but 3 are sufficient. Okay. Statement of objectives is what I said. It's the statement of purpose. And okay, graduate study in physics. Okay, you have to describe research projects, aptitude, and achievements as completely as possible. This important part of the application provides an opportunity to describe any interests, skills, background, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Additional application materials, research, teaching, and community engagement, publications, talks, and merit-based recognition. Okay. Optional personal statement, detailed instruction. Okay, so MIT is more demanding, I guess. Okay, let's check another one. Okay, I mentioned Michigan State University graduate school admissions physics. Okay, let's test that. Okay, information for prospective students. Okay, general information. Okay, let's go here. Do they mention deadlines, application review process? No. Okay, GRE scores are optional. We see that here as well. I don't know what happened to the GRE general. Okay, let's ask Google. Is the GRE general test still required for PhD applications? Okay, let's ask. Okay, this is for mathematics, 2023. Okay, I'm writing to ask. This is the Stack Exchange, the Academia Stack Exchange, by the way. It's a sister site to the infamous, come on, what's the name of the coding part? Stack Overflow. Okay. I'm writing to ask whether there's a consensus on the role of the GRE general exam and the GRE mathematics subject exam in the PhD admission process for mathematics departments in the United States. Okay. So, okay. Okay, both the GRE General and the GRE Math are optional. Okay, it seems like things became optional, but I don't know. I don't want to force anybody to do anything, but I am assuming when they say optional, there will be that case of a student who actually took the test and they will have an advantage over you. So it doesn't make sense that things are optional, to me at least. But I don't know. I never sat in an admission committee. I don't know. So anyway, I meant this to be a short video, so maybe this is a good time to stop. Oh no, okay, I forgot one important thing. So let's go to, okay, I think this site, the graduate school shopper might have, okay, they have the overall acceptance rate, by the way, for programs. Okay. Okay, browse programs. Okay, sort programs. Okay, maybe they have information about the GRE. Okay, let's go to graduate school resources. Okay, they have many resources here. Additional resources. Okay, they don't mention anything about exams, but anyway, actually, let's open some of these sites and see. Okay, read more. I'm still curious to figure out whether the GRE general is required, okay, or not. Biostatistics, okay, science. Applying to graduate school. Okay, so let me go to my alma mater. Okay, Notre Dame Graduate School, Physics. Okay. Okay. Application information. Okay. TOEFL. The subject and general GRE scores are not required or accepted for applications in 2025. Okay, so I guess some schools don't require that anymore. Okay. Which means that the game changed. I am assuming that now if a school does not accept these tests and they don't care about them, then maybe you need to have an even higher GPA that I mentioned before and definitely research experience, okay? Because somehow you need to convince them that you're gonna go there and be a good PhD student, capable of performing research tasks, writing papers, and getting published, okay? And as I said, the product of a university and a PhD program is publications. Okay, that's the main product. But there is another one that I didn't pay attention to when I was doing my PhD, and I was stupid. Okay, and that's getting funded. Okay, so honestly, if I did this all over again, I would start from the beginning, like from probably year 1 or year 2. Even if you don't know necessarily what research direction you want to go in. By the way, that's another thing that it's overrated a little bit, because I believe that you need to choose just the research direction, and if the opportunity is given to you, just go for it, and you're gonna learn as much as needed to get your PhD. And by the end of the PhD, you're gonna know more than you think that you know, probably. Okay, so just pick something and go for and stick with it. Okay, and you will learn enough, okay? Because many people who go into PhD programs have an imposter syndrome. Don't, just do it, okay? And from the very first year, start applying to anything. Any source of funding is good. Like even if you get one of those $500, don't know, $1,000 travel funding and stuff like that, that's good enough. It shows that you can write attractive proposals, and it shows that you can get funding, and that's gonna make you a very, very good candidate for postdocs and professor positions in the future, etc. So publish as much as you can, even if you don't understand 100% what you're doing at the time, and also apply for funding while you are in graduate school. But okay, this is dragging for too long. Okay, so if we have to sum it up, like to summarize, okay, you need to take the TOEFL or the IELTS if you're an international student. If not, that's okay. You need to have a high GPA. If you have research experience, that's great. Okay, get letters of recommendation. And then, okay, my opinion is that you probably need to take the GRE physics in general, because you're not going to apply to one school. You're going to apply to I recommend to 15 schools at least. Okay, and those 15 schools, if you decide on 15 schools, it has to be maybe one or two from this list. Okay, again, one from this list. Okay, then okay, I'm analyzing the case in which you apply to 15 schools. Okay, so far we have 3 schools. Now I will say one from here. Okay, one from here, then maybe 2 from here, maybe 4 from here. Okay, 6, 7, 8, and then 7 from this list. Okay, you need to make sure that you get into a PhD program. Okay, so don't screw it up. Try to apply reasonably, like, because I've seen people applying to sending 10 applications here. Okay, okay, all of these schools have acceptance rates of maybe 20%, okay? So applying to all of them. Okay, acceptance in one is independent on acceptance on another, but okay, if you multiply probabilities, that's not gonna work. But I'm trying to say that the acceptance rate here, 20% is generous. I would say it's probably 3 to 10% for these schools, okay? And the same goes for these schools, by the way. Even down here, the acceptance rate would be 30% maybe, okay? Because again, in the end of the day, you need to hire a physicist who knows what they are doing, okay? So they need to know physics, etc. So you can't just accept people who are unqualified, okay? And it's a serious process, okay? And again, I forgot to talk about the statement of purpose a little bit in more detail. So again, write about your experiences, etc. Decide early on the research direction you want to go, okay, and go into these universities, okay. Again, I showed you this website. Maybe there are better websites now. I'm not aware. Let me know in the comments. Or maybe ChatGPT is better now. It's better than this now. So maybe check that as well. But go into these websites, pick a school. I don't know, Boston University, for example, okay. Open the school. They used to give information. Okay, program requirements. Okay, they give you all the okay, now I found it. I found what I wanted. So GRE requirements recommended, physics GRE recommended, TOEFL required. Okay, so this website gives you a lot of information about the program. Okay, you can visit the website of the program. This is Boston University. I picked it randomly. Okay, so okay, when you see these websites, all physics websites will have, the undergraduate part here, the degree programs, courses, and so on. Undergraduate research, that doesn't concern you. You have to go here. Graduate courses, okay. Graduate admissions, okay. This is of interest. Actually, okay. People, okay. You have to open faculty, okay. That's the first thing. Then research, okay. Let's pick, I don't know, which one is the sexiest here. Let's do cosmology. I don't know. For some reason, I'm going through the process of learning general relativity at an advanced stage. So maybe this is why I chose cosmology. Okay, physics faculty. Okay, these are the three people. Okay, let's pick this name. Okay, you open the name. Okay, there is a group website. That's good. Okay, you can read information. Again, the most important piece of information about any faculty member you check is you have to check their publications. Okay, publications. Okay, archive. Okay, let's go Google Scholar. Okay, in 2025, this researcher published 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 papers. Read them. Okay, and not only read them. Okay, he was the first author in how many? Let's see. In none. Okay. That's okay. I mean, I wish I had this many publications in a year. But anyway, read the publications. It's gonna give you a sense of whether you actually like what they are doing. That's another important thing, okay? Read them, try to check whether graduate students are included in these publications, and so on and so forth, okay? And if this kind of research interests you, and it has to be sincere, guys, okay? We are only living one life, so it has to be sincere. Like if you have a sincere interest in something that someone is doing, tell them, okay? And tell them in the statement of purpose, okay? And I think this is a good point to stop the video. Good luck to those of you who decide to do this. It's difficult process, difficult to get in, even more difficult to get out. And if you like this kind of content, I can talk more about it in a part 2 video maybe, or I can I don't know, we'll see. Just let me know if it's useful, and if you like this kind of video, please subscribe and give me a like, comment below, And if enough people comment on something additional they want me to talk about, I will make another video. And also maybe I will make a video describing the experience in graduate school. Okay, I'm gonna stop it here. Bye.